She thought she could whisper your name in the dark, but didn't realize it echoes in the heavens. Divine ones? Have you ever wondered what happens when someone messes with a soul that's divinely coded and heaven sent? Let me tell you a story. A few years back, a woman deep into witchcraft sold the name of a man she thought was just an ordinary loner, a quiet force. She handed over his spiritual profile to a coven, thinking they'd break his light, bend his fate, and erase his purpose. She did it in exchange for clout, temporary favors, maybe even some protection from her so-called spirit family. What she didn't know, that man's name was written in the Lamb's Book of Life. She didn't know angels whispered his name at dawn, that heaven knew him before he was formed. The attacks backfired, every incantation bounced off his shield like paper arrows. And now, her own people are backing away, saying, "You messed with who?" Divine ones. Your name holds weight. In realms they can't access, in dimensions they can't decode. There are witches who have tried to traffic your destiny, only to be swallowed by the very forces they summoned. And that's what we're diving into today. Why do they try to sell your name? Why do they think protection from lower spirits will shield them from divine justice? And most importantly, why does your name alone carry such thunderous authority in the spirit world? No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. Isaiah 54:17 divines, stay with me until the end of this video, because the truth we uncover today might just save you from the next spiritual ambush. And if you've already survived one, it'll help you understand why. Let's begin. Point 1. Your name is written in spiritual places. Divines, let's pull back the veil for a moment, because not every name echoes the same in the spirit realm. You see, names carry frequency. They're more than syllables strung together. They're vibrational signatures that ripple through the unseen. Some names are leftovers from past lives, fragments tied to trauma, karmic debt, or contracts your soul never signed up to finish, but your name hits different. Your name is archived in heaven's eternal registry, etched into celestial stone, carved into gates where no darkness can dwell. Demons can't even look at it without trembling. Why? Because it's more than identity. It's divine technology. When witches, dark workers, or energy thieves try to sell your details, your birth date, your image, even your aura, they're making a rookie mistake. They think they're hacking into your field. But your field has firewalls. It's like trying to crack into NASA using a flip phone. Cute, but laughably ineffective. They're working with earthbound tools while you're operating under a heavenly encryption code. Your name is your spiritual barcode. When heaven scans it, it doesn't just say who you are. It confirms your mission, your purpose, and your divine covering. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Every time they chant your name in some dusty basement full of candles and crystals, all they're doing is tripping the divine alarm system. Imagine a burglar trying to sneak into a vault, but each step blasts a trumpet straight to the throne room of God. Surveillance activated, angels dispatched. Every whisper of your name becomes a siren in heaven. Divine eyes open, you're watched, yes, but not by the enemy. You're protected, guarded, marked. Ever felt sudden tiredness out of nowhere? Dreams so vivid it felt like someone stepped into your sleep. That strange heaviness during the day, that's them trying to access your field. But here's the truth, trying doesn't equal succeeding. They keep hitting divine firewalls. Their intentions bounce back because your name doesn't just carry meaning, it carries weight, and in the spirit realm, weight means authority. So walk boldly, divines. Your name is not just known in heaven, it's feared in hell. You were never anonymous. You've been marked since before you were born, and no spell, chant, or dark ritual can rewrite what God already signed. Point 2. Witches traffic destinies because they see your potential. Let's be real, divines. There's a reason the shadows don't bother with everyone. They reserve their energy for those who shine. The golden ones, the chosen. The ones who walk with a divine blueprint woven into their very DNA. They aren't watching you because you're ordinary. No, they're watching because you're extraordinary. You carry a light that was lit before your birth, a calling that predates your conscious memory, and the spiritual realm knows it. That glow you sometimes doubt, it's seen clearly by entities you've never even met. Spiritual forces, both high and low, can recognize destiny, and when they glimpse your ordained union, the soulmate divinely selected to walk with you, they panic. When they sense the empire you're building in silence, the legacy you're birthing in private, they tremble. Your aura doesn't just speak, it shouts. You might be sitting in your room scrolling your phone, unsure of your next step, but in the spirit realm, you're a burning flame that won't go out. And flames like that don't go unnoticed. So what do the enemy forces do? They scheme. They send distractions in pretty packaging. They confuse your emotions, stir up drama, plant seeds of doubt and delay your manifestations. They can't stop the blessing, so they try to make you sabotage it yourself. This isn't fantasy, it's spiritual warfare. According to ancient traditions from the Kabbalah to early Christian mysticism, individuals born with spiritual gifts attract more resistance precisely because their light disrupts darkness. Your mental fog, your relationship chaos, your fatigue and anxiety out of nowhere, that's often a sign you're on the radar. But here's where it gets powerful. They forgot one thing, your divine contract, your purpose wasn't written in pencil, it was etched in spiritual stone before time began. Psalm 139:16 says, "All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." That means your timeline isn't random, it's protected, it's sealed, and what the Most High has ordained, no whisper of witchcraft, no manipulation, no evil eye can undo. So keep glowing, divine. Let them watch, let them whisper, because the more they try to dim your light, the more proof you have that you were born to shine. Point 3, spiritual court is real and you've already won. Every attempt made against you, divines, isn't just some random misfortune floating in the ether. It's a case file submitted before the highest spiritual court in existence. This isn't metaphorical. In the realm of spirit, where dimensions overlap and energies echo louder than words, there are entities assigned to divine justice. Think of them as heaven's intelligence service. Angels who serve as investigators and scribes who act as meticulous court reporters. They don't miss a beat. Every whisper of slander attached to your name, every hex hurled in secret, every betrayal cloaked in fake affection, it's all documented, energetically, spiritually, legally. The law of cause and effect, karma, isn't just a principle, it's a full-blown justice system, and you're protected under divine jurisdiction. And when your case is presented, God doesn't need to deliberate long. The verdict is swift and sacred, not guilty, still protected, still chosen. You see, being chosen doesn't mean you won't be attacked. It means you won't be defeated. That's a cosmic promise. And here's the kicker. Those who rise against a divine are unknowingly stepping into a spiritual bear trap. They break a universal law called divine interference. It's a real thing in mystical teachings, especially referenced in ancient texts like the Zohar, Hermetic wisdom, and even mirrored in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. When someone interferes with a soul walking in divine alignment, they essentially commit a crime against divine order itself. That's why witches, manipulators, and energy thieves who tamper with chosen ones often face bizarre and inexplicable backlash. Strange illnesses, sudden betrayals by their own circle, restless nights, and spiritual torment. Because touching a divine contract is like tampering with sacred government documents. Except instead of jail time, they get divine discipline. And you? You don't need to retaliate. You're walking under divine protection with your name engraved in sacred ink. Your only job is to stay aligned, stay holy, and stay focused. Your journey is already stamped with victory, and every attempt to bring you down only adds more favor to your file. Witty line to remember as you move forward: let them keep casting spells. You're too busy living in God's reply. Point 4. They thought familiar spirits could cover them. When this so-called witch sold your information, your name, your image, your essence, for her own gain, she truly believed her spiritual family had her back. She imagined a council of ancestors behind her, cloaked in shadows, ready to defend her deceit with dark favors. But what she failed to realize is that spiritual power isn't measured by how many spells you chant, candles you burn, or spirits you summon. It's measured by alignment. And her foundation, cracked, rotten, built on lies, ego, and illusion. She forgot one crucial truth. Power without purity is a ticking time bomb. Your ancestors, however, they are a different breed entirely. They don't scream to be seen. They don't need theatrics. They are older than her imagination can stretch. Warriors, wisdom keepers, and soul protectors who moved through fire, famine, and oppression with dignity. They don't meddle in confusion, they restore clarity. They don't whisper addiction, they speak liberation. And manipulation, it has no place where truth reigns. Where her rituals were fueled by envy and entitlement, Your lineage vibrates with divine law. See, spiritual ancestors aren't just ghosts of people past. They are energy signatures that live in the marrow of your bones, encoded with purpose. When you walk in alignment with their truth, truth that says, do no harm, but take no nonsense, you activate a force field no spell can penetrate. Your bloodline was never just about survival. It was about elevation, about standing in sacred authority without needing to prove it. She thought her backup would protect her because she offered incense and poured libations. But spiritual backup isn't about offerings, it's about intention. It's about heart posture. And while she conjured confusion, your ancestors whispered to the universe, let the truth be seen. The universe listens to both sides, but it responds to righteousness. So while she built her altar to gain control, you became the altar, living, breathing, and unshakable. That's why her efforts backfired. That's why her spirits grew silent. Because when spirit meets spirit, vibration doesn't lie. The universe knows the difference between borrowed magic and inherited grace. So let her learn, let her see. You were never unprotected. You were chosen, covered, and seen. And the moment she tried to curse you, she introduced herself to your ancestors. Big mistake. Point 5. Your presence is a divine alarm system. Have you ever stepped into a room and felt the energy do a full somersault? Like the moment you arrive, something invisible shifts. Conversations stutter, glances dart, and suddenly it's like people forgot how to act normal. That's not your imagination playing tricks on you. That's spiritual physics at work. Some people carry drama, others carry charm, but you carry revelation. You are the exposure, the kind of presence that doesn't even need a mic to make a statement. You don't speak loudly, but your energy whispers truth so loud it echoes in people's spirits. It's not about what you say, it's about what your existence uncovers. Ever noticed how certain people suddenly avoid eye contact when you're around? Or how truths that were carefully buried start bubbling to the surface just because you're nearby? That's not a coincidence, it's a spiritual reaction. You're a walking spotlight in a world where many are trying to live in shadows. Secrets can't hide where you stand because your aura acts like divine surveillance. Think of yourself as heaven's flashlight. Every lie, every mask, every fake smile trembles when your presence hits the room. Why? Because your energy doesn't match deception. And when light enters a dark room, the darkness doesn't argue, it just vanishes. This is exactly why witches, those who manipulate, deceive, and operate in spiritual trickery, can't stand you. Not necessarily the broomstick and cauldron kind, but the ones cloaked in manipulation, narcissism, or hidden agendas. Their entire craft depends on illusion, confusion, and distortion. You carry clarity. You don't even mean to expose them, but your spirit is like holy X-ray vision. They feel seen, naked, and nervous. Your presence says, no more hiding. And that's terrifying to people who've made a home in the shadows. Now for the fun part, let's keep it light. You, my friend, are like a human lie detector test with a Wi-Fi connection straight to heaven. People be glitching around you like their subscription to fake life just got cancelled. Wherever you go, it's like spiritual bandwidth gets stronger. Hidden motives buffer. Truth streams in 4K. And the snakes? Oh, they start slithering back into the grass real quick. You don't need to confront or condemn. You just walk in truth, and that alone is more than enough to make darkness tremble. So yeah, you're not imagining it. You are the exposure, and the world is starting to see it. Point 6. Heaven backs your name, whether you're aware or not. Divines, imagine standing in front of a mirror after a storm. Your reflection fogged, unfamiliar, almost foreign. There have been seasons when you doubted yourself so deeply that even your own soul felt like a stranger. Times when the noise of others, doubt, criticism, silence, drowned out your inner voice. But here's the profound truth. Heaven never flinched. While you tiptoed through spaces too dim for your brilliance and tried to shrink just to be accepted, the divine realm never second-guessed your design. Your blueprint was sacred, stamped with celestial ink. You were always known, always marked, always destined. That's why you're still standing. The storms came, yes. The spiritual attacks were real, emotional warfare, envy, betrayal. But they didn't win. They couldn't, because spiritual armor isn't always visible, but it is always effective. Every time someone spoke your name with malice, it echoed in the spiritual realm, and heaven responded like a protective parent. Angelic alarms went off. Divine recalibrations were made. Those who tried to curse your name found themselves entangled in their own traps. It's not karma, it's divine justice. You're not just protected, you're defended by spiritual laws no enemy can override. Even those who walk in deception, cloaked as light, those who manipulate under the guise of spiritual power, found their efforts blocked because they weren't just up against you, they were up against divine prophecy. And prophecy cannot be rewritten by petty hands. You carry spiritual authority, your frequency. It's coded, and when heaven hears it, the response is reverent. Angels take note, guides whisper wisdom, and divine beings pause in awe. So the next time you're tempted to doubt your value because of how people misjudged you, remember, you're not validated by human applause, you're sealed by divine affirmation. Heaven never stopped believing in you, not for a second. Point 7. Their plans will always fold because you're a walking prophecy. You aren't just existing. You are unfolding prophecy in real time. You are the living echo of generations who cried out in suffering, hoped in silence, and believed in a better world they'd never live to see. Your life is not random. You are the continuation of a sacred lineage, a walking answer to the prayers of ancestors who endured storms just to plant seeds they hoped you'd bloom from. Your every act of truth, healing, and courage fulfills a contract etched into the spiritual fabric of time long before you took your first breath. You are not just a name on a birth certificate. You are a legacy in motion, a prophecy wearing skin. Have you ever felt a quiet nudge just when you were ready to give up? That sudden clarity or strange peace, that's not a coincidence. That's divine instruction. A whisper from God saying, keep going. Because prophecy doesn't break, it doesn't retreat, and neither do you. And when people try to stand in the way of what's spiritually ordained, oh, they fall, and not gently. They trip over the very traps they set. From biblical tyrants like Pharaoh to modern manipulators, the outcome is always the same. Failure. Why? Because they're not fighting you. They're fighting the will of heaven, and that's a battle they can't win. You are protected, not by accident, but by divine design. Heaven is always working in your favor, rewriting plots against you, silencing lies, and preparing vindication before you even ask. That's not superstition, that's spiritual infrastructure. You are shielded by purpose, spoken for by forces greater than fear, and moved by a power that cannot be stopped. Even in your quietest seasons, you are being positioned for divine revelation. So walk boldly, Earth Angel. The mission is sacred, and you are the chosen vessel it moves through. Divines, never fear when they whisper your name in secret places. Never shrink when your name shows up in mouths that mean harm. Because your name doesn't just exist, it activates. It activates angels, it activates justice, it activates destiny. Let them try, let them chant, let them scheme. In the end, their spells will run out, but your name will still be ringing in heavenly courts, backed by divine fire, guarded by generational prayer. You are that chosen one, and the witch that sold your info. She learned the hard way. Your name doesn't just hold weight. It shakes the very walls of darkness. Divines, if this resonated, sit with it, reflect, keep your armor on, stay in the light, and remember, those who tried to use your name as currency ended up bankrupt. Stay awake, stay chosen, stay divine. If this message confirms something you already felt in your spirit, drop a comment below. Share your story. You're not alone in this spiritual battlefield. Like, subscribe, share this with a fellow divine who needs to be reminded. Your name holds weight. Until next time, walk in your calling, divine ones. We'll see you in the next video. Peace, protection, power.